So I absolutely love roses. I grew up with them, but they are not as finicky as they once were, and roses are no longer just a standard cheese, but we have a great collection that are great for any garden.
They're a plant that I never really liked before because they seem to be a little fussy. They have thorns, and I don't need to be prickled every time I work with them.
Sounds like some girls I know.
But they've come out with so many nice new roses that you're not just stuck with your old-fashioned tea rose anymore, which can be a little fussy, you know.
They're absolutely beautiful and they have their place, but the new varieties allow people to use them in all sorts of gardens.
And different sizes, like the one I'm holding right here is a miniature rose, which never gets very large. You could even grow it in a pot on your patio if you want to, and have these beautiful, perfectly formed miniature roses all summer long. If you're more into landscape type areas in your perennial beds or shrub borders, you can choose what I like to call landscape roses.
Well, and what's great about them is how much color they provide you all season long.
And this is what I'm talking about right here, like this knockout rose or this carpet, red carpet rose. They come in a series. Carpet comes in a bunch of different colors. Your knockout roses come in a bunch of different colors. They stay relatively short, under 2 feet or so, and bloom constantly all summer long. And then finally, if you want a really nice accent, just a single rose that's going to give you a really beautiful accent in the perennial bed or in the shrub bed, I like these David Austin roses. They're I guess, developed in England by the hybridizer David Austin, and they're developed to look like the old-fashioned English rose, but instead of just blooming once a year, they bloom all summer long, and they can get quite large. I've seen them upwards of 6 feet.
They can, and the varieties and colors, you can do a great combination with all these different varieties and have great color in the yard, and they are fairly low maintenance.
They're fragrant as all get out.
They smell fantastic.
And they're good for cut flowers to take in the house as well. And you know who else is going to talk to us today about roses is Luann over at Tagawa's on how to take care of these things, how to plant them, how to water and fertilize them as well.
Well, roses are a great item to add in any landscape that you have. So make sure for all these varieties, you can check out our information on digincolorado.com.
Now, you know what? I have some great stories about some rose variety names. Some interesting things, some funny ones, but then there's also one about the peace rose and how it got its name. It's really kind of cool. You want to go find one?
You'll go find a peace rose.
Let's go find a peace rose.
So Keith, not only do roses add some really great color to any garden wherever you put them, but they also make a great conversation piece. A lot of them have unique names, and some of them even have fantastic stories.
Speaking of stories, we stopped right here by this peace rose. Everybody knows the name peace rose. I mean, it's been around forever, since the mid-40s to be exact. It's got ties to World War II. Did you know that?
That's before my time.
Well, yeah, before both of our times, really. This was hybridized in France and smuggled out of the country to the United States, and it was released as a new cultivar called peace rose the day Berlin fell in 1945, and which was the same day as the end of World War II in Europe. So that's a really kind of neat story behind the peace rose. But you can also make a theme garden of roses if you want to. Roses that have names of events or special days like St. Patrick's Day. There's also Memorial Day and the 4th of July, and you get the drift, right?
So not only do roses celebrate famous holidays and events, but also famous people like John F. Kennedy and one of my daughter's favorites, Betty Boop.
There are lots of famous people that have their names on roses. People like Queen Elizabeth and, Dick Clark is another good one.
There's also roses that do things like by fragrance and also just by cool, fun names like Voodoo.
Oh, Voodoo and Vavavoom and Big Mama are some of the fun names. Some of the more descriptive names I saw while I was wandering around are names like Perfume Delight, which obviously is going to be a really sweet-smelling plant, or Joseph's Coat, which has many colors. The flowers change color as they age. There's also Tahitian Sunset and Hot Cocoa. You can just imagine what those flowers look like.
Well, and all of the varieties, you can play with a lot of them and have a complete conversation about all the different roses and the names you have them in your garden.
Absolutely.
So at Nix, not only do they have roses, but they also have a fantastic water garden department. And Jordan from Nix is going to join us to show us all, coming up next on Dig In.
Hi, I'm Chef Delatorre from Johnson & Wales University. Today I'm going to show you what to do with those early greens that you can find in your garden with an arugula chimichurri.
Timely Tips is brought to you by Paulino Gardens, paulinogardens.com.